Okay, so what we're going to do today is sort of finish up with this for the moment, and what we're going to do is track the background so that to the foreground, so that when you play the clip back, it moves the the background moves with it like it was in the shot, because right now it doesn't. See? So we're going to just track that in there. And to do that, to start with, what I'm going to use as my tracking reference is the start pre-comp, which is the foreground. If I solo this guy out, we're going to track that. And so I'm going to pick start, and then come up here to animation, and use track motion, and click on that. And what's going to happen is it's going to bring up start as a separate layer. You see the interface changed a little bit. I think I've mentioned this before, but anyway, so when you do a track or a lot of the other tools that we have, it basically wants to work just on that layer, and so it'll create, if the tab is not up here, it'll create a tab with showing you just that layer. It's like it's soloed, and the composition is over here. So if you want to switch between them, there's the composition, which is the sum total of what you had, and that's the layer. And then we've got the little tracking point here. And I've tested this several times. Once I go through this, be my guest to attempt to adjust it yourself. But I've found that in this case, to move the background by the way the camera is moving and stuff, that just doing a positional track seemed to work the best. The rotations, it got a little bit questionable. So I'm just going to start doing this part of it with just a position track. And going through this, you see there's tracker 1 has been created. There's only one tracker right now because I just called it up. And we want to track type is transform. And I just have position checked. And then to tell it what I'm going to apply when I'm done, what I'm going to apply the track to, which layer, that's edit target. And it's defaulting to the layer right above it, the light wrap pre-comp. And what I really want to do is the lawn care, the background. So I'm switching this over to lawn care. And options, you can keep these mostly at default now. Occasionally, if you want your tracker to stop if it makes a mistake instead of drifting off into outer space for whatever reason, if you switch the adapt feature to stop tracking, then when it loses confidence that it's tracking the right material, it'll just stop instead of, for example, if you're tracking something and a bird flies through the shot and happens to hit it and it grabs the bird and flies away, the tracker flies away. If you say stop, usually where it sets the confidence, if it goes below 80% confidence that it's tracking the right pixels, it'll just stop. I'm going to leave it in the adapt feature right now because this works pretty well. But this is an option where you may want it to just stop so you can see where it thinks it's having problems. So I'm going to leave it like that. And since this is an example of tracking when you have no tracking markers put in the shot in the first place, you have to find something that that is pretty stable with contrast that you can track. And I've tried around the face, I've tried the eyebrows. We'll be doing that with the eye patch and stuff. But what seemed to work best for this and caused less twitching, because while it actually, like, he does a little eyebrow bob, and if the background was matched to that, then the background moves with the eyebrow. It just was strange looking. So what I'm going to do is move the tracker down to the end of this bird wing that's on his chest, because he's just sitting there and this doesn't move very much. A couple of things with the tracker. You want to move it when you see when you put your cursor over it, when you see the little 4 arrows, then you're moving everything. Unless you know exactly what you're doing, the one thing you really don't want to do is grab the X in the middle and move that, because that's the center that's the tracking path is based on, and that creates that can create some questionable behavior. But if you just grab it anywhere, you just see the 4 arrow and just move it, and it'll give you a little magnifier. I think I've already covered some of this in the other class, but it gives you a little magnifier to zero in on. And then this outer box is the area on every frame it's going to look for the pattern that's defined by this inner box. So if I move this around, that's the pattern that it's going to be looking for, and it's only going to look within these pixels. The bigger this box is, the longer it's going to take to calculate because there's more pixels for it to look through. But if you have something that's moving very fast, like they did a swish pan on the camera, and the camera's moving very fast, if you run into a situation where this particular pattern you're defining in one frame ends up outside the box here, the camera's moving that fast, it'll fail because it's not even looking for it. It's just going to stop or find something else to go wander off on. So you want to have the box big enough so that on any particular frame that you're tracking, that the image that you're defining is within this box. This is the search region, and this is like the definition region. So good with that. You can track forward or backwards. There's times where you may want to track backwards. An example that comes to mind a lot is if you're trying to replace a picture in a picture frame with the camera moving or the camera zooming in. A lot of times it's easier to go to the end of the shot when the camera's zoomed in, set your track up that way and have it track backwards. Just to give you an example, but the point is you can do that. Right now this works fine just tracking forwards. But if you forget and don't have your play cursor on the first frame, you can track forwards and then come back to the start point and track backwards if you so desire. If you haven't done any of the tracking yet, it's easier just to, a lot of times, just to move the cursor and remove move this to the correct place. But we got that going now, so let's just bring this down. And I'm on my first frame. Everything's all set up, so I'm just going to hit the track forward, analyze forward. Pardon? Oh, it's
Right here? Yeah.
play forward. Yes, the arrow, not the, it's right up there. Right now it's playing, so it's a little box. But it's the little arrow that would be right there.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Okay. And now we watch it while it does its thing.
How do you reset the camera?
Hang on. Tracking sometimes is akin to watching paint dry. Especially on a Friday morning with all our wonderful church bells in the background.
It could be Saturday morning.
Could be. Except Saturday morning, you'd probably not be here. But then you never know. No. All right, so now that it's done tracking, it's given me a animation path, and if I scrub through my timeline, see how it's following along, and I don't see any really big spikes, like one frame that just shot up and took off somewhere. So it's probably a reasonable place to start. So if I take that, and right now it's made the track, but it has not applied that material, that motion to the other layers. So we haven't really done anything except track that point. That's where, make sure that if you check your edit target button, that it does say lawn care and not light wrap, so you don't have the light wrap moving around.
How does it reset? Does it determine?
I mean, you probably have to move the tracker back to position and track it again if you hit reset. then hit apply, and that applies the material either in X and or Y or one by itself, and hit OK. Okay. Well, we're going to do it again. Don't worry. So I applied it, and you see that it's there, but it offset it.
Wait, did you say apply dimensions X and Y?
Yes.
Okay.
Apply dimensions X and Y, and it offset it. So this is where there is a rule to this that you need to follow, because if you move this now, you basically will be just adjusting one keyframe. Let me open this up and go to the transforms, and you'll see that it applied. If you can't, you may have to stand up if you're in the back, but it actually applied the animation, because I just did position. It applied it to the position of the transform. The basic moved it around, and you can see the keyframes all applied to it. But if you want to offset this to zero it back, basically reposition it back in, before you move anything, what you have to do is pick the position option so that all the keyframes are selected. If you move it without doing this, it's just going to move it for that one keyframe, and you're basically going to put a pop in there. It's going to move along, and then it's going to jump to the frame spot and jump back if you just do the one. But if you click on the position option, it lights up all of them. That allows you to come up here, and it's going to offset the whole animation. So you can move that back because also while it's moving around, you'll notice that it's black on the edge here, so you could get away with it, but you notice that it's sliding into this shot. If the tent flap wasn't here, you'd be losing part of your picture. So you're probably going to have to scale the background up a little bit also. So I come back up here. The scale, since that didn't have the animation on it, I can grab this and just make it a little bit larger. But anytime you move it in position, make sure that you select the position word so that all the keyframes are selected. Then you can just sort of go through the timeline, see if there's any places where you might be cropping off. Let's just say that was exposing there. With all of them selected, I can slide this back over a little bit. And just come on through. See if I upset it going the other way. No, I got that. Like so. That's really the key point, is just to remember that you have to select this position so all the keyframes are selected. Then you can do an offset and reposition it back in. And at this point, I think I'm going to stop the video a minute, because I'm going to do a RAM cache, and there's no reason to record a video while it's loading up, and then I'll pick up again.